Francine Dick is starting to become a bit of a regular here on What She Said, and today she's joining me to talk about getting your paperwork in order at home when it comes to your finances and your personal papers. And we kind of have a lot of time on our hands, don't we, Francine?
Well, some people do, that's for sure. I mean, some people, well, like you and like myself, are still working. But even so, we're not going out at night or on weekends for entertainment. So you're right, we do have a lot of time on our hands. And I think also with coronavirus, people are thinking a bit more about what if something happened to me?
Well, I think the funny thing about this whole thing was this lockdown was so sudden. It really shone a light on how quickly things can change in our environment, how fast things can happen. And so you're right. If something were to happen overnight to me, I think about what I have prepared in this house, not really a lot, and so it is time to think about that stuff, because if something did happen, I want my daughters to have everything at their fingertips.
That's right. And rest assured, Candace, you're not alone, so don't feel guilty or anything about it. But if you think about it, and it's not just if something happened and you had to go to the hospital, and what if you're stuck on a ventilator? You could be out bike riding and have an accident and be in a coma or some sort of illness, and something happens. And do people know, like, how are people going to take care of things? Who's going to pay your rent or your mortgage? Do people know if you have a power of attorney and where it might be? Who's your lawyer, your doctor, your accountant if it's tax season time? So having it written down so people know where these things are is so important.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So having it written down, so physically written down on a hard copy of paper or online, who should have a copy? Where should it be? Let's run through sort of the beginning, from the beginning of it to the end of it.
Well, it can be either online or on a piece of paper. I have a little booklet here. And
Okay.
You can go to my website, askfrancine.ca. It's right on the homepage. You can download it. You don't have to give me your email address or anything. And it sort of lays out everything, like where's all your bank accounts? Do you deal with more than one financial institution? If you have investment accounts. So, and who's your doctor, your lawyer, all those pertinent the pertinent information that you need, and it's all there. If anyone wants a hard copy, they can reach out to me. I'm happy to mail one. But as I said, you can download it at my website. And that guides you through it. So if you download it and you save it, certainly send copies out to important people. So either siblings, adult children, a trusted friend, if you have a will, which I hope everyone does. That's another thing people are thinking about these days, is to maybe send a copy to your executor so that they know. But certainly it's also important, my children who are adults, they know where all my information is. I've got a drawer and I've got my will, my powers of attorney, my insurance policy, all those important papers are there, and they know where it is.
Okay. So let's talk about insurance, because I think that's something that we also probably, I know, but personally, I just got topped up with life insurance this year. So I was kind of late coming to the game on that one. So insurance. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at life insurance, disability.
Yes, so all kinds of people insurance. So if you think of life insurance, really isn't for you. It's for the people who you leave behind. And essentially what it does, it replaces lost income. It also provides funds for final expenses. So I find I've actually had several calls about life insurance, and I think it's just, again, the coronavirus. Everyone's thinking, of their own vulnerability. So think about if you do have a policy, when was the last time you reviewed it? If it was 10 years ago, you took it out because your first child was born, maybe now you've had 2 more kids. So maybe you need more coverage or better coverage. That's something that should be reviewed. And the other thing is disability insurance, which if you're not working right now would be a little tricky to get. A lot of people have disability coverage at work, but if you don't, if you're self-employed, it's important to have that, because if something happens to you and you can't work, you don't die, you live, how are you going to support yourself? And yes, you may be able to get some EI disability, but not very much and not for very long. So that's important to have as well. The other insurance people can consider is critical illness insurance. And critical illness insurance differs from disability insurance in that it pays a lump sum rather than a monthly benefit. It pays you a lump sum if you're diagnosed with a serious illness. Cancer is overwhelmingly the biggest claim, and the other biggies are heart attack and stroke, but a whole host of other illnesses are covered too. And a lot of times I find people who do have disability insurance at work, they like the critical illness coverage as a complement to it. And again, those are things that, either myself or any insurance broker can review for you and make sure that it's up to date.
And can you be overinsured?
You can be, although to be honest, Candace, I settled many death claims and no beneficiary ever complained that they got too much money. But it's possible. It's rare for me to find somebody who is overinsured. People are often really surprised. I'll do a needs analysis and it says, well, you need like $1 million of insurance, life insurance. And they're, what? And if you think about it, especially say you've got young children and you need insurance for the next 20 years until they're sort of grown up and through university, what's your income over 20 years going to be?
I think we hear that dollar amount. It's hard to fathom that amount, but over 20 years, you would probably likely earn that much.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. And you can get, it's actually really affordable. Just some inexpensive term insurance. People are pretty surprised. There's been a lot of competition in the marketplace, and this is actually a great time to look into life insurance because of coronavirus. Oftentimes with insurance, they send a nurse to your home to do check your height and your weight and your blood pressure and maybe take a blood sample. Of course, they're not doing that now. So you can get a lot of insurance without, you have to answer medical questions, but you don't need any medical tests done.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because when I did have my life insurance done last fall, I had a nurse come to my house and she was at my house all morning because she had to take my pulse over a certain amount of time and my blood work over a certain amount of time. And so she was here for the whole morning. So I was wondering how they'd get around that with COVID.
Yeah, so up to a certain amount, some companies are offering up to $2 million, depending on your age. But certainly you can get, even for older people, you can get, $500,000 or so without having to do any medical tests. And as long as, you're healthy, you don't have to be in perfect health, but as long as there's no big issues, you can get the policy issued. They're making it very easy these days.
Okay, so if somebody gets in touch with you, then you can help them get their paperwork in order, how much insurance they need, sort of, it's almost like financial adulting 101.
Yes, nice way of putting it. And it is funny, you know, because I'm a certified financial planner as well. So when I do things, I look at the entire picture, and people will often come to me often when they've just had a baby, and we joke how grown up because they have a baby and now they're getting wills in place and insurance in place and education plans and feeling very adulty. But I take a look at the entire picture. So where are you? Where do you want to be? So whether it is making sure you're saving, you know, for retirement, what's your pension plan at work if you have one? What are your benefits at work? I find people have no idea what they have at work. You know, like what kind of insurance, how their disability plan might work, even how much drug and dental coverage they have. So we take a look at that too, and I'll work with them to put together a plan in place that is of greatest benefit to them.
Okay, incredible. So where can people find you then, Francine?
So I have my website, which is askfrancine.ca. And that's where you can also find the guide, the financial guide, tracking all your things. And you can also reach out to me through there. My phone number is 647-897-6471. And so people can call or text me. And yeah, I always happy to have a chat with you, complimentary, and just see if I can be of any assistance to get you on the right financial track.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Francine. It's always a pleasure.
Well, and it's always a pleasure to be here. And I hope you're staying safe and sane. And I hope everyone's staying safe and sane. And getting outside for a little bit is so beneficial to your mental and physical health. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Francine.
My pleasure, Candace.